Okay, we're halten over here. Then. Huh? We got to. I don't know exactly which words. Zohar Mincha. Yeah. We didn't finish the Okay, we'll start from the V'hinei Liyos. We'll start from there. You know, let's just have us the keich of the Erechis Chachas the Hefsek. You see where it is? The Nekuda is like this. The Nekuda is that here we're going to get to the punchline of the Maamarim, but the point is that we're Ereta Zeh, there is which is Gila, and we have keich, which is Helim or shame. So when the Nekuda which is going to get to the Hemshech, there's a Maila in and there's a Chisarn in so to speak, and there's a Maila in keich and a Chisarn in keich. The Maila of is that through the is Gili Amar. So the is Megala the Makar. The is Megala the Etzim. That's of course a Maila in the flow. The Idach, when you say the word of Gili, it means that the Gili has some Yachas to the Makar. If you're saying that the is Megala the Makar is expressed through the that means that there's some Erech, there's some connection between the Gili and the Makar. If the Makar is Mufshat Legami from the Gili, if the expression is Mufshat Legami from the Makar, then it's not shaykh to say that the Gili is his, that the is his Gili. Yeah, that's the Pashut. If his Galus is Inyan, which is the Gabi the Makar, is not a Metzias at all, it's garnished, it doesn't express him at all, or it's not be'erech to him, then the doesn't express him. We say that's the Rebbe's Zavart in the beginning, that since is Megal the Mar, so stems from the Nekudas Hamar of the Etzem. The Nekudas Hamar is that aspect in the Etzem that he's a source for Gili. There's a certain Inyan of Gili that expresses the Blikvul of the Mar. The Mar is a certain Nekuda which is expressed in the So the is not Megala the Etzem, the Etzem is Batzmusik. The Etzem is Mufshat Legamri from the Inyan of his Galus. His Galus means that the Inyan is being expressed. If it's being expressed, there must be that it has some type of Inyan. If it's Pshit is Betachlis, Shlias Kol Atayim Betachlis, then what? Then it's not his Gala. His Gala means that there's something that was his Gala. There's a Gedder of, there's an Inyan of Gili, of expressing, and the expression is that the Pshit is whatever Nekud is the which through that the Makar is expressed. And that means that we're not dealing with the Makar the way he is Mufshat Lagami from any Gedder of Gili, from any Gedder of expression. Because then the is not his Gili. So we're dealing with the stems from the aspect of the Makar which gives space to the Musik of Gili. The fact that the Etzem is a Makar, is a Mair. A Mair means that he's a source for his Galus. That he's something which is nicer within himself than the Nikud of his Galus. So the doesn't contain within itself the Etzem the way he is Batz Musik. It's the Etzem the way he relates to the Musik of Gili. That's what we say. That's the Kaviyocha, the Chisaron of it. The Maila of it is that it's this Galus Elikus. But if it's his Galus, it means that it's not the Etzem the way he is Mufshat Legami from Shaykhis to Gili. It's the Etzem the way he relates to the expression. So the is behemshach to the Makar. L'chora atzmas l'shilas kol then Zakir not even whether you understand it or not. But Etzem is the atzmas is also a Mar. It means he also contains within himself the Maila of being able to be expressed. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't have the quality that he's totally beyond expression. There's the Nekuda and Atzmas which is beyond expression. But that's not the Inyan that is Megala. Stems from the Nekuda Samayr of Lukus. L'poil, the contains within himself everything, so not a cheshbon, because he can't be mechalik to the Mayr of Atzmas and other Inanim Atzmas. That's a different point. But the basic Inyan of is Gili, which Gili basically means that it comes, what's Gili? The Makar is being Nizgala. That means that what element of the Makar that we have here, the Makar is the way it relates to the Gili, not to the Makar the way he is Batz Musik. Under that koyach or shame, let's say the dogma of shame. So in the name, you don't have any hakara of the makar which is nikra b'shem. You can't tell anything. There's no features of the makar within the name. It's just atheist. You don't see any teich in there. There's no expression of his greatness, of his godless. It's just words. But leidach, that's connected to the etzem the way he is beis almos. The atheist Hashem are rooted in the etzem the way the etzem is batznusik. Not the way the Etzem relates to his Galus. Yeah, we'll see more, the way he's beyond expression. We'll see a little bit more Verit in the Memsh. That's the answer. There's a Koyach. Koyach, the Chisarn of Koyach is that it's not the way the alien is in a state of expressing himself. The Nekuda of Koyach is that that the Makar has the Koyach to initiate something, which is not him. To give space for something else, to create something. That's the only Nekuda of Koyach, which is the Nekuda of Hefsik. So that's a Chisarn. So if we're dealing with, if it's an Inni which is an expression of the Makar, so especially there's no room for something new. That it's not a new thing. It's a extension of what he is. That you're not going to have a new you're not going to have a new mitzvah. Koyach is the fact that the Makar to create something new. Not that whatever he is should be expressed. To give space for a new thing, a new invention, a new inyan. The mile that it's ischashus. The fact that Elokus is able to uftan anayis, he's not mugder in a certain form of being. He's able to create a new thing that's expressed in Koyach. The chisarn is, but sehertzach nish the elgin. That's the but this nekuda, I mean, it's not easy to clear in this manner. This nekuda that they're able to be mechadish brings out a certain nekuda of hedrak dara which doesn't express. Brings out the hedrak bala of the Eibishter, that he's not dafkan efen of etzim, could also be begili, the hedrak bala more. But the fact that he's not mugder in any form of reality at all, and he's able to, he's not a specific inyan, which then he only contains what he has, but he's able to be mechadish something new. He's not mugder in any klalim, in any teichin. So that's more comes the debita in the nekuda of kayach. But the pearl, the makar is not begili. Is the way the makar is giving space for a new thing. It's the nekuda of hefsek. Yeah, that's a clear. So now we'll understand a little bit the Hemshech here. So the Rebbe sagt das let's see, V'hine liyes. Now we're going back to the Nekuda of Rosh Hashanah and the ganze Zach Haseret. It says, V'hine liyes yisavas tekeach, yibederech yischatcha. You see where it is? Middle of the page. The line starts biyah, if it helps. You're giving, in other words, what the Eibishter is mahave a world, a universe, Shemayim v'aretz. It's Shemayim is not an expression of him. What is Shemayim? A heaven. What's the connection between a heaven and the Eibishter? There's no connection, Taka. What is it? So it's not that mitzat the lakus. It's not that as a result, when you have a lakus, the outcome is going to be a world. If we're dealing with as a result of a lakus, the outcome is a world. That's a world that expresses him. As a result of the fact that Eibishter is Ein Seif, how does this Ein Seif express that there's a world? Then that's not the Geder Shemayim V'aretz as a Chiddush. That's Shemayim V'aretz as an extension of the Eibishter's unlimited energy. That's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with this. What's the content of Shemayim? A universe, a heaven, an earth. A table's a table. Other than says in the Mashal Keach U'Peil. A heaven flying is not an Inyan Nafshi. It's a technical thing. It's a stone flying. There's no Inyan Nafshi in a stone flying. If kommt das that the Nevish makes a stone fly, he's able to create a new thing. He's able to affect a Chiddush, not expressing himself. The Eibishter, there's a Malchus is the ability to create. There should be a heaven and earth. Should be a Metzias of a Welt. Nothing, not his expression. So since the time with the Chachas v'Hefsek and with the Chiddush v'Hefsek, they're not in the Kud. It's not the Hemshach to the Makar, but it's the fact that he's able to leave his inyan and to give space for something else. The Levi derech Gilui leZeitzerach leSarei Mimcha. The Mele versteht man that in order for this, the Rebbe says as Albert, this is the Luchor of the Pshat. LeZeitzerach leSarei Mimcha Shiur is a beginning of Konzerei Masatzim. Since this Havas is b'derech Hischachus v'Hefsek, in order for it to be Gilui Lukus and Vel, darf an onkommen to their Etzem Dafke. In order for it to be Yarei Mimcha, should be a Hergish Lukus and Vel, darf an onkommen to the Rei Musa Etzem. Gilui mitzad the Indian of you cannot affect that the world a Hefsek should be Gilui Lukus. You say even a Pashta, if you say Kol Poil is Poil Apula, the dugmas to what the Poil is, but to the Poil. With what does relate to the market? With what's connection to its market? Because the is an extension of its market. It's the Isgalus of the market. But the Eilemis are not an extension of the Kuz. They're a Metzias Chadasha, a Metzias which is benifs, a new Metzias, not an extension of the Eibishter. A new reality, create a new reality. In order for in this world to be a Hergish Alukus, can accomplish that should be a Gilui Lukus in Vel. Because Alain in Yoni is the fact that his connection to Lukus is, and the fact that there's this Hergish Lukus in is because the Chavchil is not a new Metzias. He's an extension to his market. So mitzat even the highest darga of that what nicht gekent sein des galas Lukus in something which is nifsak, which is a nivra which has no shaykhs then. So there's a stone. The stone has no yachas to the nefesh. And the whole reality of the stone is only nevea mitzad the fact that the nefesh leaves his own content. So mitzad the tunu of Gilead nefesh, you won't be able to have. There should be hergish hanefesh in a stone. It's a nifsak from him. Since aliba the emes, the world, the way it's happening mitzad malchus, is a davar which is nifsak from a lukus. So the fact that there's the Gilead lukus that's the tnu of a lukus, the way it's in Gal and is that when you're connected to lukus, you're hergish lukus. What Metzias is Megala? A Metzias which in Yoni is Gili. A Metzias which in Yoni is Behemshech. But a Metzias which in Yoni is not Behemshech. So in that type of Metzias, there's no Gili Lukuste. In order to be Mamshech Gili Lukus, even in something which is B'derech Hefsek, if an onkommen to their Etzem, not the way the Etzem is a Mocker for because the Mocker, the way the Etzem it's a Mocker for it's connected already to the G'darim of Metzias, to the G'darim of Gili. That expression relates to him. And something which is which is detached from him, is detached from him. Mitzad ha'etzem, this hagdara that there's what's extension of you and what's detached, that hagdara doesn't exist mitzad ha'etzem itself. So the Eibishter mitzad ha'etzem is higher than any musig of mitzias, any musig of geder. Mitzad ha'reimus ha'etzem kamei shehu ba'atzmusi, which is not connected to any hagdara. So even a davar which is detached, elokus has no definition at all. Can es mehr sein dort nechet? So in order for there to be gidei elokus in a davar which is behefsek, that from onkum mitzad ha'reimus ha'etzem, doesn't express that aspect in elokus that the Eibishter is beyond the gedarim at all. Because mitzad gedarim is megala elokus. Because is mitzad mitzius, mitzad its nature, mitzad its tchunis, is behemshach to the makir. So it's the makir, it's elokus, the way elokus is mizgala through an inyan which is behemshach, bekiru with him. But the aspect of elokus that the Eibishter is not mugdar in any klal, and even something which is detached, he's able to express him, he's able to be nirgash there, that nikud is not expressed in there. That nikud that's the reimus ha'etzem kamei shehu ba'atzmosei. And in order to be poyel gilul elokus in a daimim, in a davar which is behefsik, that from onkum is the reimus ha'etzem. That's the first nikud. This is the first thing. The Zaytzrach Leis HaRevimcha, Shiur b'zeh begil, in other words, in order so soll sein gilul elokus in Welt, darf man onkum and tereimus ha'atzmi. Or let's say in an under lashon abyssal, if you say this also goes back to the gedarim of gilul and etzem. But is the inner versteht. You're gonna say if you have an Indian in a mugbal dekaifen, says let's say Mashiach be able to be mashpia the kusdarten even in Chai, the Benachal level Maamarim, the Rebbe says that he's going to be pearl and daimim tzameach Chai. How is he able to be pearl hergish lakus even in tzameach and Chai? So if the idea of a lakus is connected to a certain hagdara, a lakus is pshitis or whatever it is. So in order to relate to this inyan, you have to have the right kelim for it. You have to relate to this inyan. But if a lakus is something which has no definition at all, so there, if it has no definition at all, it's able to be nirgash everywhere. If a lakus is an inyan of chveisa, inyan of pshitis, or inyan of say, whatever, inyan ruchni, so a daimim or something which is detached doesn't have the ability to have a shaykhas to inyan ruchni. But a lakus is not connected to any inyan. Is the truth beyond the definition of what type of no form. No inyan of ruchni gashmi has no agdara at all. So mitzad that inyan is able to be nirgash, is able to have ashpa on every darga of mitzvahs. Detached, he's taka detached, but that's not a reason why elokus can be meir there, because mitzad the etzem of elokus there is no definition of what type of reality it is. If there's no definition of what type of reality it is, meir everywhere. Mashake in gilui expresses elokus in a certain form. Elokus is megal elokus. With what is it gili? Where you're saying that through the you have a kar in the mar. That means there's certain features, so to speak, in the mar which is nisgal in the So is a gili. It's in the mitzias. So there is pshitis, and through pshitis you have a kar in the godless of elokus. So the fact that the Eibishter is beyond any expression at all, which mitzad that is beyond any form at all, that's not nisgal in the tnu of gili. And dafki mitzad the of etzem, mitzad that there's no hagdara of where elokus can be meir v'nergash. Even in a detached, even in a mitzias of tzameach and daimim, you're able to be meir elokus. Kedart neichz is a chayr elokus. Even at tzameach and daimim. Yeah, that's the nekuda beit for oh, so it was like this. The Zohar mimcha, that's the pshat mimcha, mlash namshach mal ma'il lamata. Asher b'chinas reimus ha'atzmis yumshach lamata begil l'nevur. Mitzad nachatayich that it's not stam that the koyach what could be gidel l'kus and vel is mitzad the reimus ha'atzim. But the fact, the type of hergish alaki that's made in the niver which is hefsik reflects the reimus ha'atzim. Shenachavart. See, the fact that you could have his galas l'kus in every aspect is mitzad the etzim, which is not mugdar at all. And then there's another. So mitzad the fact that l'kus has no definition, so anything could relate to him. Even a daimim could relate to him. The daimim and hizmi could relate to him. You could use a stone, let's say, to serve Hashem. That's because Avedas Hashem has no tzir at all. Then there's another thing. The weirs express the nekuda sa'etzem in the fact that in the heder hergish, in the fact that there's a connection to l'kus without a hergish, that expresses the reimus etzem. Means vu gets chareis the etzem of a l'kus, not only the mitzad etzem, you're able to bring a l'kus everywhere, but the way the davar hanifsak, his yachas to l'kus, that expresses the etzem, that reflects the etzem of a l'kus. Doesn't shveter zeh. You get the two in yanimir. The zester chli is harimim chashiyah bez beginu b'chinas reimus ha'atzmi. Zohar harimim chol dashnam shacham ma'il lamata, shb'chinas reimus ha'atzmi yum shach lamata begil l'nivraim, u'kmei kein, as a result of that, so the The word of Matalamayla is that where do you have a akara? It's not only the bekeach etzem. In which we have two types of dveikus talikus. There's, let's say, dveikus of a dover duchni talikus, that he has asagas talikus and he has bittul talikus, and then there is a daimim, an evan, which has no asagas talikus, no argash talikus, but lepoil, he's designated to the Eibishter. The evan's being used the shamash eskayni. So I'm using this dogma, but in which type of dveikus gets chareis the etzem that's expressed dafke in the dveikus of the davar achi namach talukos. There is where you have the bitei etzem. Just use a dogma. You use the mashal and the nefesh. So you say that Chassidus, it says the bisman abayis. So there was havanas, there was asagas talukos, and there was hergish talukos. That's one Indian. So meila tzchnish da reis gebracht the etzem of the neshama. Because the fact that a Yid is connected to the Eibusher, because versteht that the Eibusher is the größte Zach, and he has Abbas Hashem, so you don't have to onkommen to Nekuda Atzmis. Mitzad Mitzias, it makes sense to be connected to Lugus. It's Mitzad Teva, he has to be connected to Lugus. Al Pi Teva, if your Meir understands the emes of Lugus, maybe you're connected. Mashik was Managolish, is saying, later you know, there's no Avanas Vasagas to Lugus, and still you're connected. So the shaila is, how are you connected to Lukus if you don't have Havana Vasaga? You don't have Ergish. That's because the Yid's connected to the Eibishter is not limited in Teva, in that it has to, that it's because mitzad the gdorim of Seichel, let's say, there's a connection. It's a kesher atzmi. It's the kesher which is beyond limitations. When it's nirgash the etzem, mitzad the etzem, even in a state where there's no Seichel Vasaga, can an eich dorten sein verbunden, because the connection is not limited. But that's b'koyach le'etzim. It can be a connection even in a state where there's no seichel v'das. Then there's more. Vu brings is the nature of connection of the etzim is expressed in the b'shas yid when there's no avana v'asaka and still it's connected. That type of connection brings out the etzim. Because what you say, someone has no avana v'asaka, no lukus. No, but Baal the Eibush he's a yid. He doesn't know. There's no why. There's no feeling. This is what he does. This nekud, there's connection without any teichin, without any mitvas. That expresses the Nekudas Etzem. That the Eibishter's emes is without any taich, beyond the taich. This is the way it is. This is the Indian. You understand the Indian? The Eifen HaKesher of this Kesher Chitzeni reflects the Kesher the way it is Mitzad Etzem. Because what's the Kesher Chitzeni? There's no reason for the connection. Or there's no hergish. Hagan, there's no, but this is what it is. Without a tam, without a backup, without a reason. A Yid Mitzias is without cheshbon. He doesn't have any cheshbon. He's connected to the Eibishter. You ask him why he never thought why. This is the way it is. This is the way it is, reflects that that's the way it is inside the etzim. The fact that the Eibush is only mitzias, this is what it is. It's not connected to a teichin of bleakvul or this mile and that mile. The etzim is beyond the idea of milas. He's the truth, on a taich. This beyond the taich is expressed in the fact that a yid's connected without a taich, without a teichin. The lamata without a teichin is a reflection of the etzem which is beyond teichin, beyond tzir. Das ist die zwei Inyanim. So in order to be mekasher, even a nibra which is behefsik, darf man onkommen zu der etzem. That's the Ravim Chol Mayel lamata. And the zweite Sache is, then the mata is mis'ale to the mayel. Then it's in the mata's form of connection reflects the atzmistik kasher. It reflects the reimus etzem. Also kann sein der Pshat. Das kann sein. We'll see later more. Lass mal sehen. Kumikin wir kann mal matel mal der rein, können soll kein mal, können es rein muss atzmes. Bezen nasa ay the odem rish. The Rebbe says in the beginning of the Maamarim that what's in Rosh Hashanah, in Rosh Hashanah is as al nirgazain it should be Meir the etzem in Welt. And that's the sibur rishayna why there was this the whole state of Shlashos. In order for there to be the isgalus etzem. And this galus etzem is body the gilui through Adam Rishon being mekabel malchus shamayim. What's the yichus Adam Rishon being mekabel malchus shamayim? That's the remus etzem. He brings the beginning of the Maamarim. Adam Rishon wasn't only mekabel on himself. He's mekabel on himself not just the tnu of seichel u'midas that he had misad is asagas alukus. Mitzad that he was masig that David created the world. That's what brought his bittul talukus. If it was mitzad the seichel v'das, so then how was he pilot even in Ephraim? He's pilot by all in Ephraim, bein eshtachah v'nechra, that they should also realize that their whole fate is to be connected to the Eibishter. If its connection, if Adam Rishon's Akarat Holocaust was based on a certain seer, so then the way his seichel stayed was Holocaust, so how was he able to be payal even when he get Adam, when he get in Ephraim? So the other Rishon by Emet Meir given the Nekuda Elkus is beyond Tzir, the Nekuda Se'etzim. The way the Eibishter is beyond, that this is the emes, beyond a form, beyond the union of Tzir, beyond the union of his galus. And mitzad that, he was able to be Poyel, even though Adam Rishon himself was also a person, which had gedacht onkem in Kabbalah Seil, and was without Seichel V'das and without Hergish, and he was able to be Poyel, even when he get to the Vrayim, Bayin Ishtachel V'nechra. So the Bayin Ishtachel V'nechra, the Chitzenius is just the basic notion that the Eibishter created the world. But the fact, this basic notion stems from the fact that the Eibishter has no definition. And in the Pashat Bittul of the Nevraim, which have no Yachas of Hergish, that reflects the Nekudas HaEmes, which is beyond the Tzir, beyond the Teichen, the Inyan Alim. The Inyan itself without any Teichen v'Hergish connected to it. It brings, it says that the Baal Shem Tov, when he davened the goats, like a Chufstone, yeah, they steht as it. And when the Baal Shem Tov would daven in the forest, so the goats would surround him and as a certain nice. It says that his tzitzis themselves would shake. It's not because of his shaking. The tzitzis themselves would have the union of a slavus. Good. Even the daimon. Yeah, the Rebbe brings it. No, this man, but the Rebbe brings it. Okay. Then I said the other Marishim is a shomer of all gays love. Yeshim shibs can Tishrei was atzins begili. Pause is Kaplan of Ram. Zau Shah. Says a pause is Kaplan of Ram. Zau shomer bein shtach von nechra. Nivro gamer kanal. Das kann sein. Warum ist der Rebbe sagt? Komek in Bchol Shana Shana. The Bchol is Shana. Nimshach von Tishrei was atzmis begili ad la matamat. That's point number 1. Then Rebbe was atzmis is mehr begili. And it's nimshach bis la matamat. In order to be Poyel, the Reim was that's why the Veda Rosh Hashanah, if the Honuk of Rosh Hashanah was just to be Ma'ir by the Eibishter, to be a Melech again, so then it's not Reim, then the Veda has to do only with Kabbalah Sil. To be Ma'ir by the Eibishter, that's only Yis Melech. Since the Veda Rosh Hashanah is Medav Mamshas and the Reim was Atzmis Begilui, is Lachain Haveda Rosh Hashanah, Yibchinas Hazot, the Veda has to be Behesin to the Amshach of Mavul Mamshas. So that's why the Veda Rosh Hashanah is Bebchinas Hazot, the Atzmis Shemisat Etzem Anasham. Etzem Anashama lekech is Etzem Shalomayel. The Rebbe says Etzem Shalomayel. The Veda has to be mitzad the Etzem of the Neshama. The Rebbe says later. And mitzad the punkt das even to get to the Amshach Shalomayel. Mitvas with what is expressed Rei Musatzmi. That the Galus Shalokus is Bizla Mata Mata. So there's a get Veda also. Mitzad the Bishas the Veda is mitzad the Dargis Hagloim of the Neshama. Mitzad Seichel Sheb Neshama or the Dargis the Chelek Hagil of the Neshama. So it's going to have Agbole. Only in Yanim which are Gili, which express the Nefesh, are able to relate them. In Yanim which don't express them, they don't contain Nefesh. Mitzad the Etzem of the Neshama, which there its connection to the Lukus has no form klal. Mitzad that, you don't have the Agdara, they're only things that openly express them of a Shaykhis. Even in Yanim which Begoli, we don't see any connection to it. Begoli means Mitzad Metzias, we don't see a connection. But the Etzem itself is beyond the Gdara of Metzias. So Mitzad that, in Yeder Zachot HaShaykhis. So Mitzad the Etzem, he's Cheder in all the Keiches. That's the first thing.
Kabbalah Soul is not shy to give it a shot?
No, Kabbalah Soul is the truth of Kabbalah Soul stems back from Mitzad Etzem. Shet Chassidus says it. Chassidus it says that the fact that a Yid, even without the truth of Kabbalah, the true Musik of Kabbalah Soul, without you don't have a Asagi, you don't have a Havana, it's the Eibishter is in charge and you do what he says without any Seichel V'das beyond it. That's Mitzad the fact that if you see someone has a certain feeling. If your connection to something is based on a feeling, based on the fact that you relate it, begilu, you relate it. So then, if you're in a state that you don't relate it, if your metzias is detached from it, so then you have no shaykhis to it. See, al-kalasel is a yid is in a state that he's not a keli talakus. He has no avana basagin talakus, but still without a tam v'das. This is the way it is. He does what the Eibishter wants, without a taich. But pnimis is because the etzem is beyond a form of connection.
That's not what we're saying.
It should be no. Kabbalah Soil is not Meir Begili. Kabbalah Soil is not Meir Begili. Kabbalah Soil is not. The Kavana is we're talking about being Payel Kabbalah Soil. In Kabbalah Soil could be you only see the Chitzeni is the part of it. The Kavana is that it should be nirgash that the Kabbalah Soil should stem from that because the neshama has no tzir. I mean, the Chitzeni is what you see here is a very external connection. You don't see here at Psaini Pnimi. The Kavana is that the pnimius of what Kabbalah Soil should be Meir Begili. and the Kabbalah still should be a result of that Nikuda Pnimis. Yeah, the Pnimis, the truth is every Kabbalah is connected to the Etzem. The Vartas should be Begili. Let's see what the Rebbe says. He says, so here the Rebbe says, but the Rebbe says, the word of Hello, I think that's the word of Hello, that every darga, Lefie Fani, is connected to Lakus. So the Remus Atzmis is reflected after in the Dover Achinomo. It's not just, we'll see even here. So the Rebbe says, so it's not only the mitzvah etzim, he could even be lamata mata. The Rebbe says the ikar avedi b'sheshana is to say Isis, to say Tilim. So instead of saying the Rebbe is not saying Tilim as a result of the fact that you can't contain the greatest lavos for the Hosten Hartzen, you should say Tilim. Or as a result of the fact that this is halaych b'der etzim or something like that, you should say Tilim. Amira, Isis. What's that? Amira's Isis. Kedumas in a cliche v'kayach. Not something which doesn't express any regesh of connection to Lukus. No Havana Basak. A person sits and he mumbles with his mouth, he's saying Tilim. Saying Tilim. This saying Tilim, ba'amiti saynyanim, that reflects the Etzim Kamei Means it's also it's in of kesher Talakus, of bittul Talakus. Not mitzad a certain inyan, not mitzad a certain teichen. Without mitzad, this is what it is. So that Isis and their Isis of kedusha. You're so we say the mizu shemit saying b'shefer so in ma'aser shel mata me'adibur. Ashit ke shefer chachmi ve'ena malach kol ve'ezek b'chinas ma'aser shel gamata gam me'miras Isis the psukim achas zechins v'shefers. So here it sounds like it's even there, but the Rebbe says here clear that the word is ikar ve'eshana b'miras Isis. It means vu gitz chares der etzem in shem v'kayach. What does it mean in shem v'kayach? The fact that the name doesn't express the person, that's so. What's the relation to the name to the person? That's if the person is mugder in expression. So certain things relate, certain things express him, pshittis expresses him, and gili bittul expresses him. Isis doesn't express him. But there's the etzem that's beyond the concept of expression. He's beyond bechlal having a definition. He's beyond the teichen. He's beyond the whole category of expression. There's no teichen. This is the emes. Onataych. That emes onataych is reflected in the fact of saying Isis without a taich. Bipshitis. Onataych. Amiras Isis. I'm saying that's Kdush Elikus doesn't demand a taich. This is what it is. What were you asking?
Why is the Halagasha that it's even Hamshach there?
It's two separate things. There's one thing is the Hamshach al-Ma'ah. First is the Hamshach al-Ma'ah lamata. And then, where is the etzem? What's more transparent to the etzem? What expresses the tnuas is two separate things. Mitzad the etzem is able to be everywhere. And then, but where could you identify the type of kesher of the etzem? That's in the lamata mata.
It's saying so that it even comes from it's not saying.
Huh? You're saying here, but the Rebbe says ikar aveder sheshana. Stop. So why is it? You should say biz medav zogim tilam echad. Why does it say that's the ikar? Okay, here. But he says that ikar v'shana is amiras esis. In amiras. Even so, then it's not. So why is saying ikar? He's saying you just cause to feed the Rebbe's word. It doesn't mean that word. But I think that's the pshat of Relo Mamata Lamayla. The pshat of Mamayla Mamata Lamayla is this two inyan. But the Rebbe says it mefurish in the Maamarim of Shir HaMailas. I think that's a pshat also, but the Rebbe says mefurish in the Maamarim of Shir HaMailas. If you look in the Maamarim of Shir HaMailas, page 13, there's Zehine Gili ha'etzem sheshashanu b'chinas Hashem dafke. The Zeo mashig v'yeshanu b'amiras eisius. See what the Rebbe says there? That's what I'm saying, no? This Maamarim saying. Yeah. That's the pshat eich. Okay, so the Rebbe's not going into the pratis and the Kodev Allah Matal. I'm saying. What do you want to say? That there's no Inav Allah Matal, there's no, it's just the Hamshach Biz Lamata Mata.
So we're speaking right here.
And
because the next I gave him to training.
Okay, you're saying, well, we should wait to the next time. We should wait to the next time. To say this point is the next time. It's not the word to be here. That's what you're saying. Say it, okay, fine. I'm not going to gaze a cheshvan with it, but okay, say that. No, because the Rebbe is being massive, the musik of Keli and shame. I'm saying it comes behemsha. Okay, it's not. It's absolutely so in the Aveda Shana, Aveda Shimsat Esem and Shama, Shul Chayde, was an Emdurch, and the Kech Eishatach. Yeah, here the Rebbe is more madgish. Another point, maybe that's, it's not so much neged the nekuda of the mata being misal. It's more the whole part of this Maamarim is Tchilas Masecha. That why is Shana Tchilas Masecha? Because the Tchila is the Tchila Amitis. The Tchila Amitis is the Etzem. Here that Goshe is, or Shana is this Galus Etzem. The pile in what it's expressed, that's not the kneish that we're trying to discuss over here. We want to bring out the Shana that Yoni is Hazazah Se'etzem. Hazazah Se'etzem, not the way the Etzem is mufshit. The way the Hazazah Se'etzem, you say the way it's expressed in the fact that even a davar lamata mata. I'm saying that's we're talking about bringing the tchila should be in the masecha, not the tchila. The etzem always existed. The point is this galus etzem. But we're not asking to speak about the mile of shame specifically. More as using it as a way to bring out the etzem. Okay, that's kind of. Yeah, the next time is more about gosh than put of shame. Oh, so here, from here until towards the beginning of the ganze Arichas here, Rosh Hashanah, Matan Torah versus Rosh Hashanah. So the way even though the Shvach of Matan Torah Rosh Hashanah, but the Mashmos Advarim sounds like is it goes through a whole Arichas sign at the end of this Maimer, sign at the beginning of the next Maimer. When you get Matan Torah Rosh Hashanah, the Mashmos is the Matan Torah is the Inin of the Inin of Gili, and Rosh Hashanah is the Nekud of Etzem, the Nekud of Shem, the Kayach. That's we're going to see it back and forth. You say there's a mile in air, there's a chisarn in air, so to speak. There's a mile in kayach, chisarn in kayach. So here, within the signal of Matan Torah and Rosh Hashanah, so the Rebbe speaks in the beginning of the next Maamarim. The Chorah, there's a mile in Matan Torah, which Rosh Hashanah doesn't have. And then the Maskana is going to be there. Rosh Hashanah is dafka the Etzem, Matan Torah, and Mashiach Matan Torah is Gili. So we're using the Nekudas of of Gili and Shem, Matan Torah and Rosh Hashanah. That's what it sounds like. זהו גם ההפרש בין שושנה ליום השישי יום למתן תורה. ושכוסוב ארץ יורדה בשקותה. אף שמתן תורה נעשה כמו בתחילת הבריאה. אלו המילוי נברא, also מתן תורה there was a nekuda of what's the called the dimin to Rosh Hashanah. Because also מתן תורה there was a nekuda of Shleimus Abriya. And there was a certain Indian nimshach and velt on Eifen of Shleimus. Eretz Yorda b'shekota, v'shas Briya Sa'el in the world was still not settled. And Shekota is dafka Matan Torah. Because dafka Matan Torah there was a certain Indian which was pale Shleimus in the Briya. But the vart is, that's l'chura, even though these words don't say, but that's l'chura what comes out. But in Torah is the shleimus of the inin of Gili. Mash'ek in Brias Rosh Hashanah is the shleimus of the inin of Shem, which Shem is dafka mushish in the etzem. So the tchila, the etzem is connected dafka to Rosh Hashanah. Because that's inin of Shem b'kayach. Hashem in Torah is also a shleimus of the shleimus of the inin of not of kid. Okay, it doesn't do that. Komkim is Ashan Torah Nasim Kim Yishkol Sabri Elon Lui Nivra, Mi Komkim Chalukim. Yeah, maybe it's not mention one more thing. I don't know if it's not I'm saying it's a thing that brings us to quote a couple of times. The same point. There's one. There's a sikha of Hazinu Chelik Tes. The Mogul learned us about Komi She'ene Beicher Vaseres Mitzvah Eine Shmas Shleim. Kim Zeich. The Mogul learned us. I think so. Good. So. Alter Baruch, they have no excuses. But I'm not going to, don't worry. The last time, I'll let you sleep in peace. So what's the So the Maise is that, so the Rebbe brings there the Maila of Malchus. That Bechitzaini is, Malchus is lower than all the other spheres. So Yid has, all other spheres are connected, like the Rebbe says here. Midis, if someone has Avos Hashem, so it's because he's a Keli Telekos. He's Margish, the goddess of the Eibishter. He's connected. Mashiach and Malchus is Kabbalah Sel. That means he has no Hergish, he has no Asaga. He's detached. And Ava Bikain, even though Mitzad his Mitzvah is not a Keli Telekos, still he's a Kabbalah Malchus Shemayim, whatever the beard is. But the fact that a Lakus is able to be effective, even in a place that detached of him, that's dafki mitzad ha'etzem. Dafki mitzad ha'etzem. This is the kud that the Rebbe brings out in the Sikh of Hazinu Chelik Tes, very sharp basis. The fact that even when a Yid, even a nivro, which is nifsak, say an evan which has no shaykhs to nefesh, has, even though the connection is a very chitzenistic connection, but the fact that the nefesh has an imprint, even on makom shim b'chutz, the previous is it's neveh to the fact that the etzem is not mugdar in a certain siyur. That brings there more sharper with this type of nekuda. That's one sikh. Another same nekuda legabi dibur, the sikh of Yisrei Chedik Vav about dibur. So the Rebbe also brings out over there that dibur dibur is the lowest kayach of a person. Pashta zach is that a person, even without having the ability of without kayach dibur, nothing's lacking in the person if he doesn't have kayach dibur. I mentioned Tishrei, there's something missing in his Shloime Sanefesh. He could have a full. Dibur doesn't get shivik anything to Shloime Sanefesh. The nefesh is a complete person. Without the only concern of dibur is that someone else won't be able to know what you're thinking, won't be able to know what your svaras are. But the guy with the Shloime Sanefesh, since the whole keicha dibur is in order to communicate your inyan to someone else, not for your sake. So in Mela, there's also there's the lowest gilei nafshi in dibur, because the whole keicha dibur is for an other. An other can't be a kedi to the person the way he is b'mehusa. He's an other. An other is detached from the nefesh, the nefesh is in its place. So since the whole nekod of dibur is communicating the nyana nefesh to azulas, so that's going to be the gilei achi namuch. I'm saying what's able to be communicated to azulas, a davar achi chitzeni. Person's feeling itself, he can't give over the feeling of the nefesh itself. Give over a davar chitzeni b'yeser. That's what chitzeni is. But pnimis from van stammt es take that a person is able to communicate his inyanim, his mahos to azulas. But even achi chitzeni. From van it comes this take that someone else, which has no yachas, there's a nekud of a gap. You can't pass over that gap. There's me and there's the zulas. We come to say that the nefesh contains within himself a koyach to relate to someone else. It's not even about him; it's about someone else. That's because there's a nekuda in the nefesh that has no hagdara at all, and that atzmius, which there's no nekuda of form of klali ametzius, even the most basic klal of there's a person detached from someone else, but that's a certain rule of metzius. The etzem nefesh is the mahusa nefesh without any hagdara. That's expressed in the fact that his inyan is able to be even in azulas. Even someone which is detached. The same type of inyan. That's the sherish of Keicha Dibur. As a third word. So in order to be mamshech alakus, the mitzvah of hefsek, that von onkom mitzvah netzem. And the kavanah is Elmeir zeh. Stama say Dibur herzach nicht da, that is the primus hanefesh. So this is mevar, that sherish of Dibur is netzem hanefesh. The nekuda is that it should be bizgal, it should be nirgash, that from vanen stammt Dibur, stammt from the netzem. And the safkos of the Dibur should actually reflect begili that. The Dibur should give us our sagik, so to speak, in that. That's the avodah of a yid zu pels and azayim. Let's see the hemshel. Zog amish min shishon al mayim shishi yend vat nterik mishkol zog shkofat afshan vat nterik nase bikmit tlos be elam al doin dibro mikom kem chalukim. The vat nterik how you say schalkos. Vat nterik we see there was different chaluki dargas. Afashem etzad gili shemol mailok sibe yer davay al arsine bechol pamayidele. I guess this psukim bring out that his galus is naif and that there was no chaluki dargas. What's the Ravai is higher than Makam Uzman, and Chopamai delay. There was mitzad the Lukus. So it wasn't the Lukus, the Lukus is the Seder Shtalshalos. It was Nizgala the Pshitas of the Eibushter. The area in Seif Hablikvo was Nizgala, not the way Lukus is limited in Seder Shtalshalos. Havaya the Chopamai delay means the ganze godless from the Lukus, not a godless mitzimtzenes. His godless Hablikvo, and the male it's higher than his Chalkas. The whole musik of his Chalkas begins mitzad the air the way is Melubash and Kalim. The way the air is melubash in kalim, there's in chachma there's more, in bina there's less. Mitzad pshitis, mitzad the blik vol is beyond kalim, so it's higher than his chalkos. That's mitzad the gilim l'mayla. Was for the air at merigeven, so at merigeven the air is about blik vol of the Eibishter. But the blik vol is not that. Blik vol is a certain hafla of no limits. Here we're speaking about no musik of a no idea of a title, no idea of a teichin, not a greatness, this form or that form. That's not give them a mind. But the pile, how did the air, when the air was being piled on the matter, the air itself was pshitus, and the air itself doesn't relate to chilukim. But the pile, the air not gnuma developed the air beifanacha. Mitzad the air, Aaron is higher than Moshe, and Moshe is higher than Moshe is higher than Aaron, and Aaron is higher than Klal. There was chilukim. Why was there chilukim? If it would have been mitzad the nekuda sa'etzim. Before any musik of Geder, the way he's mufshat legamri from gilui, from expression, so Moshe and Aaron is also up. There's no chilukim. So the etzem is also selbe Sach. Wie kommt es about dem Teir, da gam sat mehr, wenn der Eden zu fablik wo, le Poil was Moshe mechitze b'fnei atzmai, Aaron mechitze b'fnei atzmai. Each one had his own category. Because since we're dealing with Gilui, and Gilui is the way Elokus relates to Gilui, to the world of Gilui and expression, mitzad that there's some shaykhs to this chalkas. There's some shaykhs to the gedorim of the mitzvahs. Dafke mitzad the etzem, the way it's moved, the way he's batzmusay, mitzad that there is no musig of his chalkas. There's no higher and lower. But mitzad even though he himself is pshitis, but legabi him, vertish is not nisbata legamri the gedorim of his chalkas. Because we're dealing with the Elokus expressing itself. Expressing itself means that there's you're able to, there's some feature that expresses Elokus. So it's the way Elokus is nisgal in a certain inyan. If there's a certain inyan, there's an asinas makim to this type of mitzvahs and that type of mitzvahs. It's not mushlo b'tafkas. There is not touching up in was b'shteit, but the nekuda is that mitzad wird nicht nisbata legamri seder shtashos. Whether the guf is b'samsim or not is a different question. But mitzad you can't say that seder shtashos is garnished, because if it's in geder agilui, so it means it's the way Elokus is nisgal in a certain form. So mitzad klolim of mitzias, seichel is higher than midas, and mesh is higher than Aaron. And mitzad kennis is battle of Aaron gans. Aber kmesh nimmt sich mal Aaron mesh mechitz b'fnei atzmi, Aaron mechitz b'fnei atzmi, b'chul. Shekem resh shon ksiv atem nitzav mayim kochen b'fnei Hashem lekechem na sheichem neterem shevimech. So the Alter Rebbe Madgish, what's the pshat kochen is that kulam him b'shavah. There's no schalkas. Even though this one is a Wasser Träger and he has no Asaga Klal, the Roshechim has Asaga in Torah and the Roshechim schleppt a vessel Wasser. But Ava became Kulam in B'Shavah. Av she Yeshnem is a Eser Sugim, becoming Kol Sugim and Kolchim B'Lachad M'Kechem. Mitzad the Etzem there's no Agdara. Tzavada, the Etzem there's Seichel and there's a Shechem Shiftechem. Mitzad the Etzem there's only Pshittis. It's not only Pshittis. There's Ribui. But every form could relate to him in their way, and it's all mitzad the same Nekudah because the Etzem is not Mugdar. There's no nekudah of ischalkus, because it's the way is beyond the musig of expression, beyond gilui. The way is batzmusig. Is batzmusig is before the musagim of gilui when it's chadish. I mean, mitzad that in it's all achadam keechad. Zeh nisavim geshvish at mazam kudat teirish kol anitzutz is misalam lim kerim harishin. The Rebbe teaches here lim kerim harishin mitzad etzem kerim harishin mamish. The rishin kadmil the tchila the etzem of everything. They're misala to the etzem. It's not like what in Torah that the was bipshitis, but the poil that's not shelo this chalkos of welt. The poil chachm is higher than bina. Mashegim sabat in Torah and it's galig avern that chachm and bina is the same inyan. The same etzem which can be gali and chachm is gali and bina. There's no chalkos. Oh, let's see what the Rebbe says. Tama davar who. Yeah, I'm saying the whole time but even though the Sprache is not like that, but I think that's the Nekudas Adaber. The Tama Daber, if you should tell you, B'chinas Chochma. V'agam she Chochma, no, Torah is Elokus, Elokus already Zok Tzachares. Say it that way. Say that the Nekud over here is, I'm saying the word Torah is Chochma, the Nekud is, Torah is not the Etzem is Batzmiyusei Mamish. It's the way the Inyanim are, the way they're being expressed. The way it's being nisgali, it's not the etzem mamish. Rosh Hashanah is a yid that's connected to the etzem k'meishu b'atzmusik. Torah is not that. That's the way the etzem is zak tzachares. How do you say zak tzachares? I guess I'm not. Some things the words and the meaning come together. It's not the nekudas inyan itself. It's the way the inyan is misbata. The way it's I don't know if the expression is the right word, but yeah. There's a lukus batzmose which is beyond. Then there is the way he's misbata in mitzias. The way it plays out and the way it materializes. Yeah, I don't know. This is the idea. Whether they have the right word or not. But the way that you say there's the etzem nefesh and there's the expressions of the nefesh. Yeah, a person understands, a person learns, a person feels. So feeling is a certain expression of life. You say there's the chai is the way it is batzmiyus, let's say, the muhus itself, the nekuda itself, and then in order for it to be expressed, you have to have a certain form of life. It has to be expressed in some practical bituyim of the inyan. Bituyim is always lower than the inyan itself. Doesn't capture the full mahus of the inyan. That's the way the inyan is already misbat in a certain tzir, in a certain mitzias. So chachma is not a lukus, but a lukus is batzmuse. Chachma is, it's already the gili inyan, which doesn't capture the core of the inyan. And that's Torah. Torah is the gili inyan. A yid is connected to the nekudas inyan, not the scholars, not the inyan, the way it's expressed and the way it, the way it's materialized in mitzias, the way it is batzmuse. Okay, listen. The gamshi chachma atzim is very high darda of chachma. So you say, you use in other words, it's the etzim, the highest but saf kol saf it's in of chachma. It's in the way the elokus coming into the state of gilui, of being expressed in some type of form. So chachma chom makim shehi b'chinas panim. Means even chachma, it's not elokus. The elokus is mufshit from an inyan of pnimius means it comes with the tachtin or the mekabel relates to it. The way the mekabel the inyan is through the mekabel grasping it, becoming a keli for it. That's pnimius. The eldian is the tachtin is nemtarayin with pnimius the eldian. Not so it's not the way the eldian is. There's him, and there's no dharma of mitzias. It's the way elokus is misbat in a certain tzir, in a certain inyan. So it's p'chinas pnim. It's not the way elokus is mufshet legamri from any gather of toyer. It's the way elokus already expressed himself through a certain mode. Through a certain mode, that's already the nekudah of primis. There's a certain mode which expresses him. So chacham makim shehi, the way you relate to the inyan is by this tzir being a keli for him. So each tzir is going to be vefanacher. You don't say, but in Sabbat Torah, you don't say that there's the inyan and the inyan is, and there's the inyan is everywhere. It's the inyan the way it relates to the makabel. You say seichel. You can't say that there's every person understands in his own way. It's lechatchil an inyan that you take. It has to come behesen to keli. It has to work with the makabel. It's not the inyan the way it's mufshet to mashaychas. There's the inyan itself. There's the inyan. The inyan is understood. To begin with, it's something which has to do with understanding, with being miskabel. Everybody's makabel beifanacher. So it is not the etz in the way it's mufshet legamri. The etz in the way it relates to gili. So it's going to be there's an esinas magam for his chalkas. In a primis who the feiracham. They're saying Torah bechlal. Torah is primis. Torah you have to relate to, and if you have to relate, it has to be the feiracham Kaplan. And therefore, there's this chalkas. Mitzat Torah, you're not going to say that there's the inyan. Everybody, no. Nishya dehina the shaychus Torah, and there's sheikh mimecha, and there's sheikh shifteicha. Because Torah is inyan of a lakus being nisgale according to the gdarim of the makabel, according to how much the makabel is a keli, how much the makabel expresses him. Mitzad the gdarim of gili, mitzad the gdarim of expression, and mitzad that there's this chalkas. Torah bechlal. They're saying matan Torah is not higher. Matan Torah, even though it was ein sof, but it's in of gili, then there's this chalkas. They're saying in Torah bechlal is connected to eres bekeli, to not beyond gdarim. The realikus comes within the category of mitzvahs. The mele the yad ein lefiyah fana, yad ein lefiyah zeifen. Meishim lechenim is this chalkas. Meishim is masheikin et Rosh Hashanah is nevei mitzad etzem. The nekudah itself. The nekudah selakus beyond shaychus to tzir, beyond shaychus to kelim. Rosh Hashanah shu amshach asrei masa atzmi. And the gam av ba'adam avid Rosh Hashanah he b'chinas etzem anashach. The nekudah itself. Hine em b'meile im bezes chalkas. He says af sheyesh lem kama sugim b'chinas sheichem ad b'chinas shevim mechem. Hine kol asugim im kulchem la'achodim kechas. Alts ein nekudah. V'shegam kechas agluim chadurim seine durchgenommen ba'etzem. Like the Rebbe says sometimes, you say, if the akara is, he said the only mitzias is the kavana se'etzem. And each nivra, you say, if seichel exists, what seichel is in? It also has a kavana. It's vashtein alakus. But not that seichel relates to alakus more than midas. There's no chshivas to understanding alakus. There's alakus which alakus has no touch at all. And everything that exists connects to alakus in his way. It's avad seichel fashtei to alakus, and Ava is going to have Avas Hashem. And Kabbalah is going to have Kabbalah, but it's all nirgash. There's no eschalkus. It's all nirgash that because the etzem has no form, so mele any inyan in his way is going to be connected to him. But there's no yichas of seichel over midas. If elukus is a certain mode, elukus is a psichveis pshitis, so seichel is closer to pshitis than midas is. But if elukus is not pshitis, elukus is the only reality, let's say, or the absolute emes that's beyond any inyan. So every mitzvah is not a mitzvah. When mitzad this inyan, every form could relate them in their way, and it's not as chalkos. That's, you say, the way we understand the pashtus. You say there's a kavanah. So let's say you say so the kavanah. You say the Rebbe using the guy or holding tesovel. So because this wasn't didn't think of saying this, but the Rebbe brings that what's the in the Sikh of Tashlam Do, what's the ufter techetmin that live with the Torah together with a tefillah and a fatzamayonis, and each one as an ikar b'fnei atzmi. Not that the main inyan is the main inyan is Torah, but the Tama. But I'm saying not that the Torah is the most important thing, and then he does a fatzamayonis with derech hagav. He does it when he gets tired. He does it as a davar tafel, or he learns chizis as a davar tafel, or he damas as a davar tafel. Each inyan is a ikar. So the shaila is, how is it shaykh to do such a thing? How is it shaykh that you should have 6 things that are ikar? What's your primary thing? You can't have 6 primary things. What's your ikar? Your ikar is this, your ikar is that. We have 20 things that's my primary things. So it says, if you take a look with a certain Shiur, so then there has to be something which relates to this inyan more, something which relates to this inyan less. And you're going to take a look to your Shiur. There's an Eibush there. The Eibush there is not this and not that. Whatever he wants, that's the inyan. Whatever he wants, that's the inyan. So why are you learning? You're tackle because that's what he wants. And why are you davening? Because that's what he wants. So there, he wants that you should learn with your seichel and daven with your heart. It's 2 separate things, but it's the same degree of connection. There's no difference in the there's no, it's out bashva. The chedi vitzecha schlepping water for the Beis Hamikdash, schleppt Wasser. And for was, as er Rebbe gewollt, immer so schleppen Wasser. And what's the yichus of the one that's learning? Because not that the Eibush is closer to learning. The kavanah is there should be a yidden with seichel and they should learn. So why is that more miyuchas than that? If the nekudas ha'etzem has no taich, and there's not mufshit, and there's only him, so then every inyan, his inyan has to have durchfer the kavanah ha'etzem, and every inyan connects to the etzem b'shavit. There's no difference. This is what the etzem wants, and that's what the etzem wants. So the Rebbe has another point like this. The Rebbe sagt, the figure sagt das. Also Shoshana is 2 Inyanim. Yesh ne Inin Hachtore, Inin Hashtachaba. V'hefesh b'neim hu, the Hachtore hu shemekaval es ulei l'chol ha'sheitz b'neim. When they're crowning the king, that's before, that's after, I don't know exactly how it works, but when they're crowning the king, the Tanua is, we're accepting upon ourselves whatever, you should be our leader, whatever you want, we're going to do. So there, the hergish is, the way the melech relates, he's taka higher than them. They're mekabel on himself, whatever you want, we're going to do. It's not that they're mevatel themselves to him, but there's them and there's him, and there's a certain yachas between the melech and them. They're going to be his subjects, and they're going to carry out his ritzaynus, and that's going to be their whole mitzvahs. That's achtar. Ishtachava is not that I'm going to do whatever you want. I'm going to subjugate myself to you legamri. Ishtachava means he lays himself down on the floor. There's only him. The hergish that there's the alien. Not that I'm going to be the eved of the alien. It's bittul to the mehusa alien itself. There was a Maamarim. There's another Maamarim. There was more Maamarim in this prat. He's mekabel on himself the hecherkeit from the melech. Ule means I'm being mevatel myself to the alien. I'm accepting upon myself. The melech is greater than the am. But what's the bittul? I'm not going to exist. There's only him. If someone goes in front of the king, the hergish is not. The only thing the evet senses is that there's a melech here. It's not about me doing what the melech wants. There's here the adgasha is I'm ready to devote myself to the melech. So it's not the pshat that there's no metzias of azulas. There's him and there's an alien, and there's a tfisa smakim to someone which is devoted to the melech. There's an evet which is devoted. Why does the melech need someone devoted to him? Because the melech has a yachas to the am. He has a will that he wants them to fulfill. If the melech, the way the melech is batzmusay, his nasis, the way it is in the etzem, he doesn't need people devoted to him. There's him. The melech way is batzmusay, what's that for having people that are devoted to him? If the melech has there's a certain tunu of ratzin that something can be fulfilled through them, so then the yachas of the am to the melech is devotion. They're going to fulfill his ratzin, and his ratzin is going to be carried out through them. That's all the melech has a yachas already to them, that he's going to his in will be nesgalit through them somehow. Masha'enke the melech kameshu batzmusay before he has any yachas to the zulas. There, bu falt rein hachtore that I'm devoting myself whatever you want I'm going to do. I'm accepting upon myself your balabatishkeit. There's the shtachava. The tnuah of shtachava is that he lays himself down in front of the melech, not a tnuah of devoting himself. There's the shta. Let me the state. He says, means there's still no yachas bepoil between the melech and the am. He didn't ask them what to do. He's still mikomke. What's the Kabbalah say? Whatever he's going to tell me, I'm going to do. Doesn't make a difference what he's going to say. I'm not making cheshbainis. I'm devoting myself fully. But yumshach is safka saf for dealing with tzibui. She yumshach is achar kachetzein is brother. He's a shayach in the Indian araz. Safka saf in the darga of Kabbalah's il. In Achtare, it's the bittul is a bittul to which darga and the alien, the way the alien relates somehow to the tachten. The way the tachten has exists legabe the alien. Elamai is bottled to the alien. He's meshubah to the alien. So it's the alien, but the alien is connected to Ratzon. Ratzon means the way the alien relates and is mizgala and could be something can be carried out through the tachten. Not the way alien is bafshata, the way he's batzmusay. That's when they get to Ratzon. Sheikhin Kabbalah Sil the Rosh Hashanah. What am I saying? Mashikin shtachavohu bittul atzmi lebal haratz. That's the hergesh bittul to the bal haratz, not to the alien the way he's in a state of meshicha to the am, relation to the am. The etzim the way he is batzmusay. I don't know exactly what it means in shtachavoh, but there's a certain tnuah that the melech is beyond leading an am. He's a mohus for himself. He's a fakert. He's a mohus b'shem shichem emali gavei mikolam. And there's a mussar that the evet is b'nei chasam melech, and there is nirgash the melech's b'chlal person that's b'chlal beyond be'ein arech. And it's at that tnuah b'shas is nirgash tnuah be'ein arech. There's a bittul b'tachlis shtachavoh. And there brings the dogma that you say there's a choch that you say there's mashal in the siddur that there's there's bittul of Kabbalah sales one thing. Then there's the bittul of some that the pasuk says that Mashiach is going to come, that they're going to go be pachat Hashem. We say it in the Rosh Hashanah. They're going to hide b'nei kiki aslan b'nei pachat Hashem v'hadar geine. They're going to hide in the Machmas Bush. It means a dogma that there's someone goes into a tzaddik, which is shalei be'erech to their mensch. Ich weiß is monach and eating and drinking. Ich weiß how good the chant was last week, and the tzaddik b'chal in a different. The guy with the tzaddik as I start leben is b'chal not nishke mitzias. It's not considered as no value at all. It's not a mitzias the guy. So b'shas someone's benechos at tzaddik evert is battle. He's embarrassed with his mitzias. He doesn't find himself space. He doesn't find in the presence of this type of mhus. As I start living, there's no space for such a type of life of if the beans were cooked or not. There's no space for that. It's not a tnuah v'shtachava. Mitzad the hergesh early in the way it is batzmusay, there is no chshivus to the mitzias am. No mitzias to no chshivus to the mitzias at all. Vert not ice. That's bittul atzim. Mitzad re'emus ha'etzem, there's no tnuah that expresses the etzem. Not like, but it is the way the etzem could be expressed through a tnuah, through gili. If you're bottled to him, you could express it. So it's that Indian, you're never bottled to the alien the way it's mufshat legamri from a shaykhs to the tachti. That's how derech Kabbalah says. You're bottled to the alien, but not the way you're bottled to him. But being bottled to him means something. That itself is a way of relating to him. Mashiach the etzem kameshu batzmusay beyond gilui. Mitzad that there's no tnuah that has a shaykhs to him. B'shas herzach them Indians, so the verliert the mitzias. You don't find space for yourself. Yeah, this whole word is the mitzad the etzem, so then mitzad the kayam, you have the connect to that. Who I'm supposed to say mitzad Shem ide begilu. So I am lashon begilu. The word should be mehr begilu. Remember, so Mair chulu who should say mitzad should begilu the kechesh tachnish kula Mair b'chinas etzem shnigesh by bria malchusis. Mish rishon rishon vayim algeis lavish. B'chinas reyim musi ya atz misim shechir chodesh v'yos imatelo shana table u'mesuka. We should start the next time, yeah?
How does this go back to the beginning of the Maamarim?
Das ist doch die ganze Sache. That's what I was talking about. We went through it. The other Mishpayel, all the Nefraim. I'm saying we beginning Mishtach of Nechrav. Well, how it's higher every year. Kabbalah sale deeper every year. The bittul of that. So those Sachen that could be increased from year to year. Geweest, gentlemen. Geweest. Let me say, they want to take a nap. We can just start from the beginning. Then, we can start from the beginning. We'll do the beginning of the man. Shabbos Makbar. This is the beginning. Shabbos Makbar. Sich Hashem Yisrael B'Zer Parshas B'Shalach Alpas Kurba Hashem Nas L'Cham Esar Shabbos. This there, Bert Gebracht Et L'Chamol. This there, the Rebbe's Maamarim. This Shabbos Makbar. Not only in Shoshana they come Maamarim. In Rosh Hashanah a couple of times. And steht da in Zeir. Chizkiya Pasach Shiramas Makim Prasich Hashem. So this Shiramas doesn't say Shiramas LeDavid. Shiramas Stam. Sosam B'Lei Pirish. Man Omrei. From an Shiramas LeDavid. Shloime V'Chulu. Kan Nemes Shiramas Stam. Wie taisht up there's there? Shiramayel is there's a minin called B'nei Alma L'Meimer. Called Dori Alma. I don't know what's the pshat in Zeir, but the way the Rebbe touches the Hemshech Advarim is, this Shvach to the Eibishter is not a Shvach that's unique to David or unique to Shloime. It's their Shvach. And B'kayach them, we also say it. It's a Shvach that each person mitzad atzmai could say such a Shvach. Yeder einer Shayach to them, mitzad atzmai. Kol B'nei, Zaminin Kol B'nei Alma L'Meimer. There's certain Shvachim that Adam Arishan of the Hert Azayin. This yeder Yid. What is the pshat in Maamarim krasicha? What's this shemaz that yeder Yid shaychus? Every kol boy alma. So my who mi Maamarim krasicha. And the Sheir frek mi amar David Hachi said mi Maamarim. But ksib b'chol libi derashticha. What's this Maamarim? Mi Maamarim. So mitaras shon the prince Maamarim unali yesem mashakos b'chol libi derashticha. So still because b'chol libi derashticha state mizmor David. It says over there, Chol Yivit Rashticha. Mashiach Shamas, which is Kol Bnei Adam, Kol Dari Alma. There it says Maamarim. So he's retarded. So it says Maamarim is take a higher target. So in Amika, so what's Maamarim? Amika de Kula, Amika de Beira, Amika de Kol Amikim. And the way Chassidus says is the mocker from Ali Inyan. Tchilas Hakel. There in the Hemshech HaMaimer, that's the Rei Musa Etzem. Amika the source of everything. Amika de Kula, Amika de Beira. The Beira is the, how do you say, spring, a Be'er, a well. Amika de kol amikim. They're emek from alle amikim, from all the inyanim of Makir. Mizmer zeh tiknu leon aser semichu v'gam b'reish Hashanah. This capital of Shir Maas Mamak, what I'm saying, and to say it, aser semichu and also b'reish Hashanah. L'hamshel m'china zu v'zeh shel kol echad v'echad b'yam v'dayam. It's shaykh to everyone. L'chein imer kan Shir Maas Stam lik mizmer l'dav nashe imer dav l'shem kol Yisrael. That's the deal. Shema says David has David. It's anyone who shaykhs to David. The kerach to David, every yid has a shaykhs. Here the word is kol echad ve'echad mitzad atzmei has a shaykhs to this mizmor. B'zeh dafke der mizmor this shvach. Was jeder yid atzmei can sagen. B'zeh dafke yeshem b'chinas me'amakim shelo ma'ilem b'chinas b'cholibi. B'cholibi is dafke David. So first of all, the ich shaykhs kol echad ve'echad yeh b'chinas nailas yeser. From the dark of Mizmor LeDavid, which says B'chol Libi Drashticha, has a shaykh that every yid has a shaykh to Maamarim. Gam Tzarech Lov, and the Mizesh Tiknu Lev, Mizmor Zer Seres Mitzshuva, which was the Seres Mitzshuva. The Chor is not in of Etzem. Etzem is the Malam Yischakas. What's a Seres Mitzshuva? In Yonamu, Kedisi v'Kavod lePri Yitzchayim Mekam Mekenes. L'Sakin ul Lahamshach Zes Kol Eser Sfiris. Eser Chaykas. There's still a Kal Malchus. We have to build Malchus again. So we have to build all the Eser Sfiris of Malchus. Chochma Shul Malchus, Bina Shul Malchus. So what's a seres mitzshuva? Be misaken and to be mamshech all eses vidas. And we were misaken in these days to say shema azim mamakim is move on. Shekama in the shira malas mamakim shaykh lekeches pnimi. If it's the etzem which is mufshes lekeches pnimi, so it's not shaykh to seres mitzshuva. Etzem itself, Shoshana has an akud of etzem, but a seres mitzshuva is being uftan michadash that seres eses vidas. So it's mamakim which has a shaykh lekeches agluim. So how is it be'en arech to b'chol libi? Ule'idach gisa b'chol libi is also aveda b'shleimus hakeres. So what's the mile of aveda b'mamakim aveda b'chol libi? Mikim shkam aveda b'mamakim shaychas hakeres. If you're going to say that the mamakim is b'chol libi is the dargas hanevesh that shaychas hakeres, and the mamakim is the etzem. But then mamakim is mufshet from keres. The pel we say shamas mamakim seres mitzshuva because the mamakim relates to keres. So it's not be'en arech to b'chol libi. Chaliv is the shleimus hakeches. If a shleimus hakeches means that any darga in the nevesh is a shaychus hakeches is nichlan l'chalibi. So what's the darga of mamakim? If mamakim is mufshet legamri, what's tansa seres mitzshuva? Seres mitzshuva means that it's shaychus. If it's shaychus, so then it relates to it should be nichlan l'chalibi. Chalibi means b'chalibi al keches. Also that part of the nevesh relates to the keches. As I say. Move on. That's the same thing I read before. Every year it's higher. Inyan Atzmi is always, there's no more and less. It's by definition always increasing. Okay, that's statement done. Okay. Let me run a bit. Hoffen Sie stark mit Barley. La habe ich mich schon warten teil. Der Shoshana ksebatem samayim kulchem Mashiach shoter vechad vitzach shevim echadayim. Der Shoshana im den Ram im zatem samayim kulchem shekol nitzutz in shamas samayim samayim kelmedishim klas kutetel. Af shepedet kan esem adrik. The cholim mitzad maker. There's an kudah. That says in Tanya the mitzad is chakos is in the shamas and slavish in the guf. Mash ink in the sherish and the sham. It's one kudah. So then there's not 10. If we're dealing with Shoshana is the way the shamas samayim out in their maker. See, the Ivarim, the way they're called, the Nekudas Atipa is one Nekudah. Mitzad the Amshach and the Ishtalshalas and the way things are expressed, and the Paya there's a Chalkas, but mitzad the way they are mushish in the Nekudah is one Nekudah. It's one Nekudah Samakir. So, how's it 10? So, Mikomik, that's the Uftovi. Even though they're 10, they're Bashva. So, we're not dealing with a Makir. That this reason for the Hisachdus is a Nekudah Pshitis, it's beyond Pshitis. That's the even though they're eser, they're all ker. Afshbet kan esma diges so shechem shifteichem ad shevim echem mikom kom diges el kulchem lecholim ker. Behind later, like the shamayla mesachdim. Not only mitzad, we're dealing the nekudah is beyond pratim. Therefore, they're one. That's the pashtus of Tanya Perikam base. Mitzad sheresh nafshem ba'avay yechad before they're nimshach and establishing kelim, which they're already vertzior. Mitzad sheresh nafshem, the nefesh is still the pshitusay. There, it's all one nekudah. That's not the nekudah of nitzavim. Nitzavim is that there's 10 dargis. We're already dealing after the slapshus and after the shtalshus, and still they're all one. So we already know the secret in the Maamarim before that the mitzad etzem. So then, even though each dargit takes a lukus according to his form, but it's alt bashva. Well, that we'll see. But the uft over here is the gam k'mei shem lamate misachtem lachamim. That's even though the way they are at Shiur, the way they are mitzad the of mata. Which is far from Shavim of the dargis before, still they're all one nekudah. That's been a get to Rosh Hashanah. So what do we say Rosh Hashanah? Even though there's this l'chura, we're dealing with not what there wants to bring out in this Maamarim is not the mitzvah and the verses. Even though Rosh Hashanah, we're not dealing with pshitas. We're not dealing with the way Yidden are in the market. Yidden are in the market, so there's no 10. We're dealing with the way Yidden are lamata, and still they're lachalim kere. So here the Rebbe asked it as a kasha. Rosh Hashanah, which we're dealing with the world, the way the world is tzir, and each person is in his tzir, or we're not standing in front of Har Sinai Dart and hearing an Hashem Lekecha. So there we're talking about the ultimate Eschalkos. Chedi vitzecha, Shevim Mecha. But in Torah, every Yid had Gidei Lekos. Even Shivcha saw Gidei Lekos. Each person according to his tzir is Chedi vitzecha, and he's not Shaychas to more. And Afa Bekin we say Kulcham Lachadam Kech. That even the way the Tachten is b'mitziyusay, so there's no Eschalkos. And the Shail is Matan Torah. The Shail is going to be Matan Torah should have been there. Who is Meir Pshitis? Matan Torah. That's the Shail, in other words. Where was Meir a Gilui Matan Torah? So how could it be that there was a Chalkos? Whereas al derech the Shail l'chura, where's Meir l'kus and Er? The mile of Er v'erkech. L'chura shame is Helen, and dafke there we see an in a prifel l'kir. Such a so there is Rosh Hashanah l'chura is the tacht and the way he is b'tziyule, and dafke there we see his actos. Mash'ekim Matan Torah, which l'chura is the highest Gilui, and there we see his Chalkos. That's the in the shpra in the he's using Matan Torah Rosh Hashanah, but really it's makbuilt in the kud of Er v'shem. This is all. I'm not saying this is what I think. It's not Nishtei Messinai. Shega Matan Torah and Avshever the Vayalar Sinai. So the Chura was a mere the Gila. Gila Milo he believes Chalkos. Even though the Gila Milo is even believes Chalkos, which not you don't have the Rosh Hashanah. So you went in Gila Milo that there was Nirgash Pamal Yidilei. The higher reality wasn't Meir. It's not Meir Rosh Hashanah. When was the Meir the higher reality? Matan Torah. And Abel became Lamata. You can't come chilukim. Mishum chizuf natzmi. Arim chizuf natzmi. Luchor etzirch leis hepech advar. Matan Torah, which there's the Gilim Omayla, Sahertzach Ein Sof, Vayer Davay Alar Sinai, Kovetz and Resources, Bitlag Zeshim Sad Momayla means the Hefsik. Rosh Hashanah, there's Matan, there's Mayla, and there's Hefsik. There's Hefsik. Matan Torah is a Bitlag Zer. That the reality, the way it is in the Eldian is Meir. So if the Eldian is Meir, well, G'dav Bot Lever is Chalkos. So the simple way we read the Perikam base. Mitzad Sheresh Nafshem B'Avay Yechad, there's no Eschalkos. Only Mitzad Eschalkos in Guf. So where is Meir the Neshama the way it's beyond Guf? Matan Torah, not Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the person the other way is connected to this Guf. And Dafke here is Achtas and there is Eschalkos. Call Matan Torah a bit like Zera. Okay, Matan Torah actually Chibral Yinav Tachtena. Matan Torah a bit like Zera. Mitzad L'Malik. The whole Matan Torah is the Gilei HaElyon. If it's the Gilei HaElyon, so mitzad the Elyon, there's no Eschalkas l'chol. Mashiach Shoshana is mitzad the Mata. You see, that's the in a Torah. This is all Barichas Deila. Then I just want to bring up the point. The point is, l'chol, how do we understand the pashtus? And that's the pashtus thing. Achtus you have mitzad pshittus. Mitzad the shadish is everybody's one. The way the Yana mitzad guf, mitzad kelim starts the musik of Eschalkas v'tzir. L'chol Matan Torah Meir given Elokus, the way Elokus is no Maila, bit like Zera, the Elyon was Meir, so then it should have faded away, all these Chalkas. Mash'egin Rosh Hashanah is not the way a higher reality is made. It's Taved Olmata L'Maila. And the Nivra is in his tzir, each person is in his tzir, and the Erdaf Uftan, the Eibush is not coming to be in his Gal Rosh Hashanah. A person that Uftan Kabbalas, Malchus Shamayim. L'chora there, and the Teretz says that Dafke, when it's Mitzad Tachlin, it's connected to the Etzim. And if it's connected to the Etzim, the fact that you're one is not limited to be in a mode of Pshittis. When is the Achtos Neveim? And if the Achtos is mitzad the mode of Pshittis, it's not Sheil Eschalkas Legam. Because that means that only mitzad this mode, there's oneness. Mashegi mitzad a different Tenuah, there's Eschalkas. So it's not Sheil Eschalkas. So Matan Torah that this Achtos was mitzad the Gili of the Eibish's reality, so to speak. Mitzad Meir Gevem Pshittis, so it's not Sheil Eschalkas Legam. Mashenkin Shoshana, which is the Tachtin Kameshu b'mitzius saving Niskar after the course. That's rooted mitzad the Etzem. That the way Elokus is beyond any tzir, even beyond the tzir of Pshittis. And mitzad that Nekuda, even the way they are b'tziyuram, there's Achtos. You heard the meaning. I'm already telling you the punchline, and that's the chud of the punchline. Okay, the Rebbe goes into the whole thing. I don't want to rush through, but you get the point, the underlying point that could be over here. We'll see the pratim, but they're just saying the Nekud of Esken Zayin. I see they put Maamarim Kemis, but Stam, this word, Stam is also, I think that's the Nekud of Primus over here also, that there's Achtos Mitzad Pshittis, and that's Mitzad that Indian, it cannot come Lamata, and there's Gedorim. Mash'ekin mitzad etzim, there's no gather in what the Achtos is not even mitzad hergesh elyon. So this mamish eizgetach not in this context, but in the Stam. You want to see these aces? I'm not making up the ideas. I'm making up. The question is the pshat here, but the etzim in yonim state. But in the Maamarim there's a sikha of the zeis habrocha chelik tes. But the three dargis in makif, makavakorev, makavarochik, tam zeichem dover kazeh. So the Rebbe speaks about three dargis in Achtos. That the Achtos of there's an Achtos of Sukkos. I remember the problem that the Achtos of Sukkos is par echad ayel echad is mitzad the tnu of halo. That meher the inyan of the way they are mitzad the elyon. Mashik and Simchas Torah is the Achtos mitzad the etzim, so it's mizbat in rikud. In inyan pshutim. In dancing, everybody's together in one circle in dancing, but it's not mitzad the psehergish of a higher reality. Even though everybody's you're one, not mitzad valsa herzach and yonim which are beyond tzir. Not mitzad anything. Even though everybody's in their tzir and they're in rikud and there's achtos. Because that's mitzad the etzim that there's it's not nivei mitzad a certain tzir at all. Makab etzim higher than tzir of shittas. As I said, you look in the chilik tes. I'm not sure if it's bracha aleph or beis. Not there's one sikh over there about shviras haluchos, and the other one is about. Why we read the Rambam's Lashon, why we read the Zeis HaBracha, we read the Rambam's Lashon is the Machar, Perim, and Zeis HaBracha. So the Rebbe was all the whole Erichas there about three dargis in Makif, that there's Sukkos and Shmini Atzeres and Simchas Torah, and the three dargis, there's Makif, Sukkos is Shachas the Kelim, and Shmini Atzeres is beyond Kelim, is the Eira Pashut, and Simchas Torah is the Etzim, and that's Mizbat in the fact that the Achtos is not mitzat the Tnu of Halo, not mitzat the Inyan of Dveikus, it's in Inyanim Pshutim. Good, I think that it's Sunday. You have to understand the Inyan of Ashteta, but I'm saying that's the Seder. Continue Sunday. Should we wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes? I'm going to have to go to all Torah. I'm taking a bunch of her friends too. Okay.